Hi, hello, welcome back. You are listening to the Nerd for No Reason podcast. I'm going to be one of your hosts. My name is Raven.
And I'm going to be one of your other hosts. My name is Mark.
Oh my goodness,
Yes,
theatrical.
big intro. Big bombastic
Love it.
intro.
Yeah, do it, man.
Raven, what's been happening?
Vacation time currently.
Yes.
That's what's going on.
How's that been?
It's been 2 days of me actually doing stuff instead of just being a couch potato, which makes me sad. But other than that, it'll be cool. It's also been raining a lot here. Like for the past week, it's just been like downpouring.
Yeah.
And then today we had like a really big like bout of lightning, and Chris and I were out trying to do some stuff with Mudslide, and Mudslide got so scared by this big shiny lightning because normally he's just like at home and is like, I don't know what's going on, but I can ignore it because I'm special.
Poor little puppy.
Poor little puppy. It's
Yeah.
hard being a little guy.
Yeah, it's been raining like hell here too. And just nonstop all week. Haven't really been able to do anything outside, but my grass is like, hey, we gonna grow. I hope you're ready to cut the grass twice a week because that's where we're at.
Right?
It's wild. I cut my grass on Thursday. There is a good to fair possibility I will have to cut my grass probably on Monday or Tuesday, i.e. tomorrow or Tuesday.
Ooh.
Yeah, like it
Love
is.
that.
It is just like, oh shit, we got some water. So
They're just like
pretty much because we had a
slurping
little
it.
bit of a dry spell.
Yeah.
And the sprinklers don't work on like half my yard. So I was like, oh man, now I got to set up like, a regular sprinkler on the other side of the yard and run that and whatever. And then it started raining and it just never stopped. The rain came all kinds of ways. It was upside down rain and sideways rain. And yeah, it was crazy.
Had to walk to school and back in the rain, the downpouring rain. All I did was rain in the rain, and we did a dance to the rain gods. Anyways, that one was dumb, but that's what my brain thinks of.
All right, Raven, I got some bones to pick with you.
That's fair.
So to everyone listening out there in listener world, we really don't have like a set schedule of the movies we're gonna do. Usually it's like we decide about halfway through. If we're lucky, we get done recording and go, cool, next week we're gonna watch this. This past week, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday when you texted me, it was like, hey, did we ever decide on anything? And I was like, no, we didn't because, I'm terrible. And you suggested two movies. One was Gerald's Game, and the one we ultimately decided on for this week, Idiocracy. But at first, I was like, oh, Gerald's Game, because it was described as me, and I want to pull up the receipts, the transcripts, if you will.
Yes, please go for it.
Let's see. In the entire text was, how do you feel about Idiocracy? That's on Hulu. Or if you want suspense, there's Gerald's Game. That's based on the Stephen King novel and is directed by Mike Flanagan, who Chris and I both love. Zombieland is also on there. And I was like, you know what? I ain't seen a good suspense movie in a while, so Gerald's Game. I replied back, let's do Gerald's Game. And that was that was at 10:24. At 11:30, I text you back and goes, I'm calling an audible. I started watching Gerald's. Well, I said Gerald's Way, but I meant Gerald's Game.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that shit is too much for me. Let's do Idiocracy. I need a palate cleanser. Raven, did you ever end up
What?
watching Gerald's Game?
No. I was still at work. I hadn't even gotten to do anything when you were like, "Hey, I know I said we would watch this, but never mind." Because as you said, you literally answered back like an hour later while I was at work. So, no, I have not seen the movie,
Okay.
but I was excited to watch it. And then I told Chris, I was like, well, we were going to watch this, but I guess you and I will watch it now. He was like, okay. So,
So
how did it go?
okay, it was all right. Wow. Um,
Oh,
here's a quick recap. I don't know how much you know about it, but I went in it completely blind. Didn't even like knew literally nothing about this. And then as I was watching it, like probably I don't know, I kept waiting for it to go sideways earlier than it did, and then it went sideways in a completely different direction, and then it like gets into like these weird sexual abuse themes and some other stuff and like molestation, and I was just like I was like no,
that.
because
Oh,
and then
my bad.
and then as the as the father of two girls, I was like no dog. And then it became like
Oh,
fast
hey.
forward, fast forward. I kept hitting because I was watching it on the computer, so I kept hitting that arrow button, just
Oh,
like where are we going? Where are we going? And I'd move forward like 10 minutes and see where we're at, and I'm like, nope. And then I'd keep going, and then I'd stop for a second and I'd watch it, and I'm like, I feel gross. I got to take a shower. Fast forward, fast forward.
oh.
Who was that dude? Nope. Still feel gross. Fast forward, fast forward. Yeah, it was. Yeah, no. It fucked me up. I don't like it.
Noted.
Yeah, but please,
So I will enjoy probably.
you go and have
watching it.
fun and watch it. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Sorry, about that. By the way,
It is okay.
definitely not
It is
my
n-
intention to
it is-
ever just scar you. You live and you learn, Mark.
I
You
know,
live
right?
and you learn. Isn't that right, Mudslide? As he tries to figure out life with a cone on his head, as he literally. We have never had to put a cone on Mudslide because when we got him, he was already clipped.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we think that he has an allergy to some stuff, and he is not understanding of this cone because he can't do anything without just like completely putting his face, the little cone, into stuff, and then being like, well, I can't do this now. Mom, Dad, I can't go down the stairs because I keep hitting the top stair. I can't get off of the couch because I hit the couch. He just stood in the way of like Boo, as Boo was just like walking past him and just hitting Boo with, because he like tried to like turn and sniff Boo, and he just keeps hitting him. So it's gonna be a fun time for Mudslide for the next little bit until we can get him to the doctor.
Poor dude.
Yeah, it's a rough life he lives. Poor guy.
That's
Hey.
right. Tell him.
And then I'm also watching some little other puppies right now. Brought them over to the apartment because they haven't been to Sissy's apartment. Watching my parents' little babies as they're on a grand trip to Ireland and Scotland. And they had never met Kavik before, and that was a wild time.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I want you to know that after I watched that, well, I say watched, after I skimmed through that wild ass movie you made me watch, and I'm putting it all on you, for some reason my brain was like, you have to watch all the things. And I've been like speed running movies this
Oh,
weekend. I don't know why, because usually I don't have time to do it, and somehow I've watched more stuff this weekend than I think I have in like the last month combined. Yeah, it's been weird. And
very nice.
Amy and Kelly are out of town this weekend, so it's just me and Alice at the house. So there's a good to fair possibility I'm gonna be watching all kinds of stuff this weekend or this week.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, but I just want to go over like some of the stuff that I watched and shout it out real quick because I feel like I've watched some really good stuff, and I just want the world to know about it. Some of it's
All
old,
right.
some of it's new. Some stuff you need to see. I think you would like it. Um,
Hit me with it.
let's see. I can't remember how I stumbled across it, but I don't have HBO Max or Max as it's called now. So apparently this is on there, and I found it through other means. Like I came across Reddit or something. I can't remember exactly how I came across it, but the show called Primal. It's an animated show by Gendy Tartakovsky, who is the guy behind Dexter's Lab, most notably, and Samurai Jack. And this is a animated show about a caveman who befriends a dinosaur, and they get into adventures. That makes it sound way more whimsical than the way I'm describing it. This show is fucking great. I am about halfway through the first season, and it scratches a very specific itch that I've had as far as like wanting to watch an adult animation show that wasn't Rick and Morty or just like a boob spectacular. You know, it's not,
Yeah.
you know, like there's nothing sexual. There's no like raunchy adult humor. It is literally just like this kind of hardcore caveman, violent, killing shit, you know, with his dinosaur. It sounds wild as I'm explaining it, but it's really good so far. I really enjoyed it. It reminds me a lot of I guess the kind of attitude that the old heavy metal movie had back in the day, where it's just adult animation, but minus boobs. So
Nice.
I feel like that's an important thing to do, or to talk about. I also
Of
watched The
course, of course.
Machine, the Burt Kreischer movie,
Oh my god.
and I'll say this in case we cover this one day on the show. Tell them
Rico.
way better than I expected.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was actually like a decent, like, did it break the mold? No. Was it a serviceable comedy movie? Yes. Will I be upset if I have to watch this again for this show? Not really. Like it's fun. It is a fun show. If you know who Burt Kreischer is and like his comedy, more specifically his robbed a Russian train story, then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then this movie is pretty good. So
All right.
yeah.
I'd be willing to take a hit at that.
And me and Alice started watching this today and binged watched it all day today. A show on Amazon Prime called Jury Duty. And this is a show in the vein of the Joe Schmo show. And I think probably like Joe Millionaire maybe. But basically it has all of these camera crews follow this group of people who are doing jury duty, but only one of them is not an actor. Everyone else is an actor. So this guy comes in and
Oh.
he ends up being like the what is it, the foreman of the jury, and he's around and all this wild shit's happening. He's like, what? This is wild, man. He's like, we've been in this for 3 weeks and just all of this crazy shit is happening. And the wildest thing is James Marsden from Sonic and X-Men and everything else. He is one of the jurors. He's one of the jurors and shows up, and he is basically like a heightened version of himself. And as the show progresses, he becomes more and more of a pompous Hollywood asshole. And it is hilarious. And the guy who is the only non-actor of the group is genuinely a good dude, but he is also very funny and quick-witted. Like, he is a breakout star. Like, there's certain things he does where I'm like, is he in on the joke? He has to be in on the joke because he has comedic timing that is outstanding. And I don't know if this man just stumbled sideways into all of his jokes or if it is just clever editing, but there's just certain things he says where, like, he gets genuine reactions out of James Marsden, and me and Alice were just in tears laughing at the show. And it's a quick watch. You can probably watch it in about 5 or 6 hours if you got a lazy Saturday. Really good. And at the end of the show, you know, they let the cat out of the bag, and he's just like, what's going on? And it's really good. But everybody from like the court sheriff to security to, I mean, damn near everybody in this building is an actor. And it's great. It's phenomenal. All right. Yeah, so I think that's all the media that I've watched this weekend, which is a lot for me.
That is a lot, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how I've done it. I really don't.
I know you have Hulu. Never mind. Have you watched the first season of The Bear? That cooking show that came out like last year or the year before?
No. I don't have Hulu anymore.
You what? Noted. Okay. Well, that being said, there is a lovely show on Hulu called The Bear, and people had continued to suggest it to me because they were like, "No, Raven, you'll really like it. You understand like kitchen stuff, and you blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Yeah. I'll get to it at some point. I got plenty of stuff to watch right now." Well, earlier this year when I was in the process of moving to Knoxville, I watched it in like the span of a week, and season 2 has just come out, and so I'm very excited to watch it. So I'm hoping that I get to like binge watch it at some point this week. But if you guys haven't seen it, you should go watch it, because if you like, you know, people from Brooklyn and family. Sorry. And, you know, just like stuff about cooking and stuff. It's a really good show.
Okay.
It's kind of like a drama type, you know. It gets tense in the kitchen.
All right. I will have to check it out.
All right. Nice.
Word. Yeah, I have seen a lot of commercials for this, and it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get around to it. You know, but it's so hard, especially if it's you know, something that I have to kind of sell Kelly on. You know, something that me and her can both watch. It has to knock it out of the park really quick, or it's the worst show and we're never going to watch it in the living room ever again.
Yeah.
I was telling Alice this. There's this great show on Dropout TV called Game Changer, and I love Game Changer. It's such a fun show. Actually, I was wanting to talk about it a little bit, and I don't know how I sidestepped into this. So, but I think the show's great. And whenever I got Dropout, I told Kelly, I was like, there's this great show on there that is really fun. It has a lot of that at midnight energy, because me and Kelly used to love watching that show at midnight. I was like, I really think you'll like it. So I put on whatever the next episode was in line, and it was like by far the worst episode of the whole series I've seen so far.
No.
Like, it was, I was watching it, and my first thought was like 5 minutes in, I was like, this is not good. She's already checked out, you know? And sure enough, I look over at her, and she's like staring at her phone. She's not paying attention. She's walking around doing stuff. She's like, I don't think this is very funny. I'm like, yes, I know. And I knew at that moment that we're never watching the show in public again. She's done cashed out. She's done seen everything there is to see about this show. She's not going to give it a second chance. So, yeah, that's kind of the problem I run into whenever I try to, like, hey, do you want to see this show? And she's like, sure, put it on. And unless it knocks out of the park in episode 1, that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
So.
I hate whenever, like, people are like, oh, we can watch this. Or you, like, recommend something. And then you just see it happen and you're like, I feel like such an embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
What do they think of me at this point? Do
My
they think that I have no taste?
Right. My whole taste is, they're never going to take another recommendation from me again.
Exactly. You're just like, well, I'm going to just shut up and sit in the corner from now on.
So, let's see. I really want to tell this story, and I don't know how else to squeeze it in, but this was such a wild thing. I don't know if this qualifies as like my happy thing of the week. Hold on, let me think what my happy thing of the week was. You know what? I can't remember what my happy thing, because I'm trying to think of like 3 things at once now.
Very nice.
So, you know what? I'll save this work story for later. I might just chalk this up to like the thing that made me happy this week, because it makes me happy in a different way. So yeah, we might just save that. Okay. Yeah. You ready? You ready to get to talking about this movie?
You ready to talk about Brondo and all the electrolytes that plants crave?
Yes.
That's all I talk about.
That's probably the one phrase that gets brought up a lot in our house. Whenever we got Alice wrapped around the axle one night when me and Kelly just kept saying, "It's what plants crave," when she asked what an electrolyte was. She's like, "What's an electrolyte?" And me and Kelly both were like, "It's got what plants crave. It's the thirst destroyer." She's like, "What?"
Exactly.
And I was like, Brondo. She's like, "What?" And me and Kelly are just both laughing like idiots.
Bless.
We're talking about Idiocracy, ladies and gentlemen, the 2006 underground cult hit that flopped at the movie theater and got a very large following on DVD.
Isn't it crazy how like movies will like flop, but then they become like extremely quoted stuff that like people just like instantly know? Because it's like just so like stupid and funny, and at this point in time you can kind of see how it lines up, and it's a little sad.
Oh yeah.
'Cause you're like, man, are we living in
my
2505?
my very first thing I was going to say on this before we started talking about the Thirst Destroyer was this movie kind of made me sad too, just in a different way than Gerald's Game. Because I'm watching this and I'm just like, oh my God, we're so close to this. Like, I was really hoping we weren't as close to it as we were. And it kind of made me sad as I was watching this. Just watching like the court scene, for example, where it's just like, man, he did the stuff. Like, he did this shit and blah, 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 and whatever. And everyone's like, yeah, that's right. Brr. I was like, God, we're so close to this. Like, we are legitimately really close to just this nonsense. You know?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do know. As much stuff that like goes on in the news and people are just like, yeah, let's talk shit on this. And then other people are like, hey, now wait just a second. And then other people are just like, no, let's keep talking shit on it. It's just like, are we allowed to have like a democracy at this point? Or is everyone just in like the same agreement that everything is stupid at this point in life? Everyone can just easily make fun of you And that's just the way that it is. You try to be like, hey, no, I was in a experiment in the military and now I'm here 500 years later and people are like, man, he talks stupid.
Right.
Why you talk like that?
You know, watching this, I love doing like the quick IMDb thing on this because honestly, the early to mid 2000s just kind of blends together in a weird haze for me. I forget what movies came out when. And I think this was, especially because during like most of that time I was living in England and they have a very different, timeline
Yeah.
structure than we did back then. Before we would get movies on DVD before they even released in the movie theater over there. Like this was a perfect example of this. So like as Idiocracy is just hitting the movie theaters over there, I'm at home watching it on American DVD. So, and every Tuesday I was at the store buying new DVDs on base. Like, I had a huge DVD collection. But Terry Crews, this man,
Hey.
this was great. I love Terry Crews as, hold on a second. I want to make sure I get his entire name.
Oh, it's so important.
Let's see. Oh, well, he's credited as President Camacho. Oh, Jesus
No.
Christ. Yeah.
With the middle name of Mountain Dew.
Right. I'll find it. Continue to talk, Raven.
While you look for that, I'm gonna throw in this little tidbit that I don't know if you know, but did you know about the backstory of the shoes that they wear in Idiocracy?
No, please tell me.
They were looking for shoes that just look, stupid. Something that you're just like, wow, that looks ridiculous. A bunch of idiots would wear these. And it was basically a prototype for Crocs. So when you were watching this movie, you can see people wearing Crocs. Like before Crocs had even like actually branded. And so when the main guy is driving the car and he like tries to like step on the gas, you just see bright orange Crocs with his little orange jumpsuit on.
Because who would be
And so-
stupid enough to wear Crocs?
Who would be stupid enough to wear something that looks like this? These silly little plastic shoes with holes in them. Hi. Welcome to the early 2000s, where we now have Crocs, and people extremely love them now in 2023.
And they decorate them.
Ah, good old little giblets.
Yep.
Love it.
My
But
kids
that's so funny.
my kids keep trying to get me to get a pair of Crocs. Like, oh, you should get Crocs. I'm like, I don't want Crocs.
You don't even let Alice wear her Crocs out.
Right.
in
Oh,
public.
yes. Oh, boy, is that a fight. She's like, oh, Dad, how come I can't wear my
That's
Crocs?
so funny.
Like-
that you're just like, no.
No, that
Is it like a thing that you and Kelly are both like, no? Or is it just like you?
no, it's me and Kelly. Like we're,
Okay.
like I try to make her not leave the house looking like a complete bum. But if we got to just run somewhere real quick to pick up something, which usually she doesn't do anyway. But if we got to, if we got to run somewhere, then maybe.
Yeah.
Like, but nine times out of 10, it's we are going somewhere for a minute. Like put on legit clothes. Don't look like a bum. Don't look like you just rolled out of bed. And then I go to like her school, a school function or something.
That's what kids look like.
And kids, man, I saw a kid. I think I brought this up on the podcast a couple months ago or a month ago or whatever about the boy who was wearing a polo shirt, gym shorts, socks
Yeah.
halfway up his calves, white socks, halfway up his calves in slides. And I'm like, what in the hell are you wearing? You know, like my man was wearing 4 different styles of outfits.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Kids just be throwing shit on. You know
what?
who else also does that? Your brother. So whenever you're like, hey girls, do you want to dress like Uncle Christopher? Do you want to look so mismatched and just a little out there? Like you're just constantly having like a chaotic week? Then don't dress like that.
Right. So I found Terry Cruz's full name.
Oh, God bless.
Yes, President Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Camacho.
Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Yes, brought to you by. Why do you always say that?
Because I make money every time I say it.
Duh. What are you, some fucking idiot? Man,
God, I love that movie.
you know,
It is so over the top stupid,
it
but it's in a good way.
it is, and like there's little things like Mike Judge is I think most people know him from probably Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill, depending on which slice of life you live in. Probably Office Space, maybe Office Space, but this is an underground hit. I love the fact that rapper Scarface was in this movie as the pimp. Upgrade, which I remember laughing uncontrollably the first time I saw this movie and saw the way that they spelled upgrade.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was like, this is going to be the greatest movie I've ever seen. Because that's the type of dumb humor I like a real quick, subtle thing. And yeah, he's like, and it's got 2 D's.
That does sound like something that I'd be like, huh, Mark would probably think this is funny. And then your brother or I would take a picture of it and just send it to you and wait for you to be like, that's dope. Ha ha ha. There's so many stupid little references in this movie where you just like see stuff, especially like when they're in Costco and it's just like dumb little stores or like marketing brands of stuff that you just catch a glimpse of it and you're just like, all right, there. I see what you're doing there. Like the Nas tea,
Yes.
where people are literally just drinking out of those like massive jugs. Which I do kind of have a jug that looks like that. It's a 52-ounce Bucky's cup. What's good? We love Bucky's.
Oh, Bucky's is the best. This movie also is like right on the verge of being what I refer to as a derp movie. A derp movie is very much in the vein of like a scary movie or a movie, usually made by like the same guy, but this and a few other parody movies do it right, and this is right on the verge of just being almost too dumb, but it fits with everything else, so it's acceptable. Like it sets up the rules of the world, the stakes that we're living in, for this movie. And so that way when you see all of like that Starbucks is now a whorehouse and Costco has like 5 different whorehouses in it. The nasty, the Ow My Balls show, like all of this wild shit that you see in this movie all works. It all has a place instead of just being random jokes that they just throw, random dumb jokes that they just throw at the screen. And yeah.
For it to be like a movie that you're just like, this is so stupid. It's very cohesive. It's
Yes.
not something that someone just like keeps pulling out of their ass. It's like someone actually thought of like, oh, Fuddruckers, let's just make it butt fuckers.
Right.
And kids are having birthday parties there
Which is
and looking miserable.
100% a joke that my father has made.
Oh, of course.
I can
That's a
guarantee.
joke your brother would make.
Yes. There is 1,000 boomers out there who have made the joke of, oh, Fuddruckers, let's go to Buttfuckers and get a burger. Ha 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 ha.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And then everyone in the movie just being like, I like money. How much would that be? It'd be so much money, buddy. It'd be 80 million. And he's just like, wow, I like money. It's just like the basic answer of just like that, where people would be like, oh yeah, money.
So I'm doing a quick little bit of digging here as we're talking, and this movie cost $2.5 million to make, and it didn't even make $1 million in the box office.
Oh my goodness,
It
that's
made
a little,
it made less than $500,000.
it's a little upsetting, I bet.
Yeah.
Good job, Boo. Thank you.
So I'm trying to see if I can get the. Oh yeah, it earned $9 million on DVD rentals. So it made almost.
Wow.
It made almost 20 times as much money in DVD rentals than it did in the box office. How wild is that?
That's actually insane to like think about. That movie had to have flopped so bad. As someone that has worked in a movie theater, I cannot imagine like how terrible that people were like, this movie's gonna suck. And then it just has like maybe a person or two in it. Like during opening week, like at the very end of the week.
Yeah.
Like each showing is just like, why are we still showing this? Because you do get movies like that, and you're just like, man, what is the point of like even pretending to like want to keep the theater? Like the light bulb, you're like, let's just go ahead and shut it down. What's the point?
Yeah.
Let's stop burning the fuse so we can keep this bulb as good as we can. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I can't see how many theaters it was released in. But I mean, it was released by 20th Century Fox, so it must have had, a pretty wide release in 2000. Wow, man. 2006. I'm looking at the release date. I was actually just got back to the States from England when this movie came out. I thought I was in England. I was not.
Interesting.
Let's see. What else? We have not talked about Maya Rudolph. I love her in this movie. She's great. She is very funny. It's nice seeing her in one of her early roles.
She fucking killed that movie. Because, she's normally just like the super funny, super charismatic, and like stuff like that. And then in this movie, she's just like, whatever. I'm just here. I make money. My pimp's gonna like beat the shit out of me if he was able to come to the future. I love her. She is such a good actress.
She is. And this must have been the time that she started doing Saturday Night Live. I'm trying to see when she got on SNL. Ah, forget it. No, it's weird that you find a movie like this where everyone plays like it seems like they were perfect in the exact role that they were cast in. And looking at it now, it does kind of show its age a little bit and kind of its budget. Like you can tell things are kind of cheap and blue screen and just kind of campy.
Yeah.
But it still kind of works. Like it feels like in place for this movie. And I'm kind of on board with it.
I also agree because at the like very ending bit where he's like, what is it? I don't remember what the word is called, but when they're like, you're not going back to prison, you're essentially getting, what
Pardon?
is it, like reformation? Reformation? Am I okay?
I don't
My
know.
brain's my brain's broken right now, man. But anyways, when it's like the big trucks
Oh,
where
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Rehabilitated? No, not rehabilitated. Was it
Rehabilitation.
rehabilitated?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I was like,
Words.
reformation. Hey guys, have you ever looked in a dictionary and noticed that there's like words in there? It's crazy. But anyways, those trucks look so bad.
Yeah, they
And
did.
you just like are watching it and you're just like, "Oh my god. They're like practically like 20% brighter than whatever else is like on the screen." And then he has his little derpy car with the sad little floppy going on the front.
Oh, let's see.
I love Justin Long. So the fact that he had like a part in this to be so stupid, which he is very good at,
Yeah.
um, fucking killed it as that doctor. And then he's just like, unscannable. And he just has like a whole like mental breakdown of just like, what is this? How do you exist?
You know, he does
Pure
very much
unscannable.
seem like a person that when you hire him, he is going to give 100% of his energy into that role, no matter the size. You know, either
Yeah.
whether it be Tusk or Idiocracy or
He's just not that into you. Jeepers creepers.
right. He's gonna give it
Dodgeball.
everything. Drunk history.
I can go on. I love that man. He is one of like my favorite actors because it doesn't matter what he plays. He always just like knocks that shit out.
All right. Well, I think that is all I have. Is there anything else you got for Idiocracy?
Just make sure you give your plants some Brondo and
Yeah.
I bet they'll be, craving some stuff real soon.
What, like from the toilet?
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Oh, that's going to have to be one of those movies that I introduce the kid to later on. Um, not right yet. I don't know if she's ready to really appreciate all of the subtle prophetic humor that is Idiocracy, but she might like it. She seems to have a good sense of humor on her. We'll see.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's see. Let's wrap the show up and let's move on to my favorite part of the show, where I ask Raven every week. Raven, tell me what has made you happy this week.
Currently, what is making me happy is, of course, having some lovely time off because who doesn't love time off?
Yeah.
Sure, I love my job, love hanging out with dogs all day, but you know what else I love doing all day? Being at home and hanging out with dogs all day. Because currently, I've been staying at my aunt's house, watching three dogs for my family, and then I'll have Boo with me. And so it's really just like hanging out with, how many dogs am I thinking of? 6 different dogs. Just either being at my apartment or being at my aunt's house. And it's very nice to just be able to be like, hey, I just want to sit here and pet you for a little bit. And then we can take a nap. It's not like, hey, I really like you and you're really cute, but you're probably going to scream and fight me because I'm going to do your nails. And then I'm going to get a little annoyed. But I'm excited for the week to come, as long as the rain's not super bad, because my aunt does have a pool and I can just hang out and vibe all week long. Amen. Hallelujah. Fix me a plate. Thanks.
Yeah.
Mark, what has made you happy this week?
Well, I alluded to this a little bit earlier in the show, and I'm sure there's something else. There is actually something else that I had in mind, and I forgot about it. So this is going to have to work. But at work this week, on Tuesday to be specific, I work in an office environment. I work with a lot of people who don't work in my office. They work in Ohio, actually, and and I am like one of the few people that work down here in Middle Georgia. And this every Tuesday, one of the projects I'm on, we have this big weekly meeting where everyone gets together, and usually it lasts like an hour long, and I don't know how or why, because we've been having this same meeting literally every week for the past 5 years. I have no idea how we come up with new stuff to talk about every single week for an hour. I knew we were in trouble this week because we started with them coming off of mute from their phone in the conference room, and it was just a whole bunch of crosstalk, and then they just started talking. Not hello, hey everybody, welcome back from the long weekend, all that. Nope, it was just they just start talking. And they're going through these slides, these PowerPoint slides like you do every week. And these guys are talking about the first slide for like 20 minutes. And I am starting to get furious because they won't shut up and move on. And then they're talking. And then we get to this other, the next slide, and it's the finance people. And they're upset because they got misinformation. And they're like, why is the office in Georgia talking to this other office because they don't have a contract with them and they're telling them to do stuff? And I'm thinking, oh, this is getting good. I know that my engineer down here is getting mad. And then all of a sudden I see that there's a button on Microsoft Teams where you hit it and you quote unquote raise your hand. And no sooner than I think that, I see that little icon pop up. So-and-so raises his hand. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then everyone's talking and they're talking and they're talking. And my engineer hasn't talked yet. And sure enough, he comes on. He's like, fine then. You know what? We're done messing with it. We're not going to touch it anymore. Our hands are out of it just like you want. Bloop, offline.
Oh.
I'm like, now I'm sitting there on mute. I look over at the other people in my cube. I'm like, hey, man, engineer's going to come down here in a minute to talk to me. He's going to be upset, so be ready. They're like, okay. About 30 seconds later, here he comes bebopping. He pokes his head around the corner. He's like, I'm looking for the boss. You know what? Fine then. We're going to just keep our fucking hands out of it, and walks off. That's not even the weirdest thing that happened in this meeting today. So, fast forward another 45 minutes. It finally gets to my slide. I am furious at this point. I know that I'm about to just pull the pin on the grenade and start a whole brand new topic. Okay? And I don't want to, but I know I'm about to. So they get to me. Hey, Mark, what's going on with you? All right, guys, I got this one thing implemented. We're good on that aspect. Just so you know, this big inspection, I don't think it's worth it anymore. I'm going to pull that back. We're not going to do that inspection anymore. This is a big statement. Because they're trying to figure out how to make my inspection bigger, as it were. And So immediately everyone starts cross talking. And then all of a sudden I hear, no, no, you're not. That's bullshit. I'm like, huh? And then I hear, and this is all like while other talking is going on. So then I hear, I'm like, you know what? No, the fuck you're not. Listen, you're a fucking liar. And then she just starts yelling and cursing at somebody. And they're like, so you got a hot mic. You got a hot mic. And I'm just, because you can, and this is how I know that instead of taking this action as they should, I do, because I reach over there and mute the person, because you can do that to other people if they're being loud or have a hot mic like this lady obviously did and didn't know it. So, but yeah, she was getting into somebody, and oh man, I immediately wanted to be like, just unmute her and just listen to the whole thing just disintegrate. But then I felt kind of bad for her. But at the same time, boy, did I want to hear the rest of that conversation. Oh man. And then they asked me a question like right after that, like I'm supposed to record, like, whoa, Mark, what do you think we should do about this inspection? I'm like, I don't know. Like, how am I supposed to top this? I can't follow this performance here.
Right?
Yeah. And then I immediately hung up the call when I got done, because I was ready to get off that call. And that's what made me happy this week. Ba-da-bum-ba-da-bum. Yeah, I know that was long and drawn out. I didn't know where else to work in that story, but yeah, it was wild.
It's cool, man. It's the little things in life that we hear that we're just like, did I just hear that? Did I really just hear whatever I just heard? While Chris and I were going to get Mudslide's collar, at some point, like, we had him in his cute little overalls because we were trying to get him to stop licking. And he, like, pops his little head up out the back window, and I roll it down because the dude in the truck right next to us is like, look, a cute little dog. And so he's looking at him, roll the window down. And then the next thing Chris and I hear is, no, I did not take all of her sandwiches. And Chris and I just roll the window back up and start busting out laughing because we're just like, holy shit, he's going to take all her sandwiches. I love hearing just like stupid little things that people say. And if I can listen into other people around these conversations, I 100% will. Because I'm nosy as heck. I don't care that I know you or that I don't know you. I will listen to you talk shit.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular. And then, the rest of the day, different people would come to me and be like, I heard the meeting this morning was pretty crazy. A lot of people got upset. And I was like, oh, you don't even know the half of it. Strap in. Let me tell you this story. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've told that story like 10 times since Tuesday.
Hey, if it makes other people in the workplace smile, at least you get that little bit of, positivity. Of just like, yep, someone else is going to get their ass chewed out because they were over there chewing out someone else's ass.
Yep. All right, Raven. Well, tell everybody where they can find you on the social medias.
On the social medias of the Instagram, I happen to be at That's So Raven Ellis, and on the Twitters, I hang out a lot on the Twitters, but I am at spooky_raven. You can also find a silly little podcast on those same little networks at Nerd for No Reason. Don't know if you guys have heard of that podcast or not, but maybe give it a listen if you feel like it. You should feel like it. I hope you do.
You should.
Mark, what are your socials that you wish to spread to the world?
Well, let's see. First off, I'm on Instagram at Turtles Do It. Spelled like it sounds. Turtles Do It. And then I'm also on Twitter at the exact same handle, at Turtles Do It. I'm on Twitter way more than I'm on Instagram. So hit me up on them Twitters.
Twitter gang.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it, man. Like, you know, we're just out here doing our damn thing, living our best life, and trying to spread positivity into the world. And
True that.
as we approach this weekend, the weekend that celebrates the birth of this wonderful nation, oh yeah. I don't know where I was going to go with that.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, is that you?
I can't do a Stone Cold impression at all. His voice is like right in that weird register. I just cannot do it.
I just heard enough of it from the
Oh,
that I was like, oh my goodness, he's gonna start giving me creamers.
What?
Cups, little cups of creamers.
Cup of coffee. No, where I can't remember where I saw this. It had to have been TikTok. But somehow the algorithm was like, oh yeah, you looked at wrestling thing one time. You remember that one time you looked at it like 6 months ago? Well, there's a Macho Man sound clip of him talking about coffee. He's like, oh yeah, a cup of coffee in the morning or something. And there's this one guy who his moment to shine is him lip syncing to that as he makes different types of coffee. And I don't know why I've seen every single one of his TikToks, but I have. But it's just a sound clip of Macho Man Randy Savage talking about coffee from some spotty cut in the 80s. Jesus, the TikTok algorithm is wild and weird. Yeah. Anyway, y'all go do something good in the world today.
You guys go ingest some pretty cool medias, and we'll see you again here next week on the Nerd for No Reason podcast.
Yeah, and I'm just going to continue to ramble some more and talk. Raven, did you know? Goodbye, everybody.